We got us a corpse and cartridge occasion.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today in this video, I want to talk about a lot of things that's currently going on and give you guys kind of a news update. And I'll start with myself. I know in my past couple of videos, I've gone back and forth on whether or not I will or will not quit Tekken. People were surprised when they see me playing Tekken, and they're sad when they see me not playing Tekken. But definitively, I don't think I will quit Tekken, probably ever. I'm just too captivated by a lot of the players' stories, the Pakistans, the Koreans, the EU, the NAs, just all of these different things that's been going on. I'm just so much of a fan of it, and I want to see how it grows and progresses over time. So that alone will keep me tied to Tekken because I just love the competitive scene so much. But then also I love the game a lot. Even though the balancing is up in the air and things are getting very crazy, and honestly, bro, I don't know if it's going to get better. With the developers leaving and whoever taking control in Tekken 9 and building that game from the ground up, fresh ideas, fresh story, fresh characters, who knows what it's going to look like. So I don't know what that front will look like, but I'm still a fan of like the characters, the brand, and that aspect I will still cover as well. The goal generally is just to branch out and cover many other topics because there's be so many things happening that we just completely miss, and it will give us context as to maybe what's happening with Tekken, maybe what's happening with just the gaming industry period. Like for example, what's going on with PlayStation. We'll talk a little bit about that. We have some major developments there. But in short, no, I'm not quitting Tekken. I would just cover more topics when they're downtime for Tekken, so I don't have to like dig to the bottom of the barrel for content. You know, that's one criticism of the channel. Also, something that I wanted to highlight was an indie game. It's beautiful to see so many fighting games be made, so many indie fighting games. You have the Roblox one, you have this one, you have a couple, you have Rush. It's cool to see so many indie developers just trying to give players a new way to experience fighting games in 2D ways and 3D ways. This one looks pretty crazy because it has so many different characters. I don't know what the release date and all of the status is on this one, but I'm more so just showing you guys this so you guys are aware that there is other things that you can go out there and experience if you are kind of tired of like the mainstay fighting games. The name of this one is called Vita Fighters. You can find it on iOS and Android. Moving on though, talking about Marvel Rivals. They put out their big Season 9 update. A lot of people loved it, but the developers felt like they wanted to do more. And that more comes in the form of another adjustment. Generally what this is doing is making the healers more effective. There is some criticisms about whether or not these buffs and nerfs was needed. There's a lot of debating going on in the comment section, but generally when I played it, the game still felt great. It still felt amazing, and I'm still exploring a lot about it. But moving on, we're going to talk about the next character, which is the Hood. Now, this character is in the files of the game, and he is still classified as a tank. What they also discovered in the files, they removed this information, but then they accidentally added it back in Season 9. And she have quotes in the game where she's talking to Ultron and also Captain America. You can see what she's saying in detail if you would like. You know that there's probably a lot of characters in development because they release like 2 every 1.5 months, I believe they said. So there's going to be a lot of characters that's planned and in development and in different stages of development, balancing, tuning, concept arts, voice acting, mocap, whatever they decide to do, right? So look forward to that character for those of you who are fans of her. The last thing that I'll mention is this kind of like cool Easter egg that players notice for the characters Deadpool, Cyclops, and Jubilee, which are basically all kind of like mutants, kind of like X-Men type characters. They have their kidneys removed. You can see scars and you can see stitches. Who is doing this is the question. So far from what we could tell, there's not anything in the game that is explaining why this is being done, but as more characters show up, maybe we'll get an answer. Quickly talking about Marvel Tekken, not major news, but we do have a rumor that Marvel Tekken and Fortnite collab is coming this year. Now this will be incredible because we know how successful it was for Street Fighter, which was wildly successful. Mortal Kombat got a little bit of success. Tekken never did anything in collaboration with Fortnite, but then Marvel Tekken doing something would be huge, and maybe that would be more incentive, but it is rumors, so it's not guaranteed. Also, a thing that Marvel Rivals done is they showed off this new vertical style trailer where they're showcasing the episode mode. Also in this it's basically like a kind of expanded story. You could choose your team, and then also there's an element to it where you can fight against like the boss characters. And this has a lot of people speculating whether or not you would be able to control them, because since you can fight them, at least through modding, you will be able to take control of them. But will the game allow you to do so? This is something that's been heavily requested for games like Tekken and even some Street Fighter games where like the big bosses become playable. And I know in the past they did it with like Heihachi, Kazuya, True Devil Devil Kazuya, etc. But we're more so talking about like the modern bosses, the Azazel, the Angel Jin, etc. But all in all, that looks pretty good for Marvel Rivals. I am hyped to play it when it comes out. Now, moving on and talking about Tekken, Ninja Killer, we did it, he says again as he reached God Infinite for a second time. So he has 2 God Infinites on two accounts. There's also other people who got God Infinite as well. When you look at the global leaderboards, you can see that there is a total of 4 people who currently have God 4, which is DHome50 HBK, which is a Middle Eastern player. Very good. They have it. Yord Rez also have it, and then Ninja Killer on 2 accounts. Ninja Killer definitely inspired not only pro players to go for the final rank, but also he inspired players en masse to continue playing, to continue practicing, and he just invigorated this whole conversation of NAEU. Now, there has been a lot of conversation about it. People have been creating their graphs to talking about which teams they think should compete. And, you know, I think it's very interesting because it is, you know, it's 2 of the biggest regions for Tekken going head to head. And I would love to see how that shapes up. The conversations got so big and so loud, and Spaghetti Rip is now weighing in on it. He says, Americans getting one good result and ignoring the last 4 years of getting bit over in tournaments is crazy. The NAEU talks are being forced. When we did it for the first time, it wasn't forced at all. We need the regions to step up and show consistency. Don't rely on one person like you did with WC just to lose badly. Looking forward to the NA comeback. This tweet was really interesting because most people were kind of confused as to whether or not this was an attempt to rage bait or whether or not this is like him just really like putting his foot down and like, enough is enough, you know? Honestly, I think whether or not the conversation is being forced, I think it's all in the guise of making Tekken more exciting and more fun. It's currently a dead moment while we wait for EWC and, you know, Bob's release and whatever comes next. So the players are trying to find whatever to do in the meantime, and they're latching on to things that may not be that exciting, but still it's something to do in the meantime. As for Sony, like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, things have gotten a lot crazier. Players are still on their line and they are unrelenting. One post that went viral says the real reason why Sony wants to destroy physical media. And there's a comparison between a couple of games where you could purchase it online and you could get like a huge discount versus on the PlayStation Store, it's still full price. Now imagine if you weren't able to pay for these games other places and the digital store is the only place. You would have to pay full price for games that's super old. This is why when you look at their Twitter, the official PlayStation account, they are being hit with community note after community note. And a lot of these are calling them out for trying to create a digital monopoly. I'll just scroll and you guys can see. So there's 1 here, there's 2, there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And this post, some of these posts have been slapped with multiple community notes, but there's 9 separate posts that currently has community notes on it. So people are not letting up. We've seen multiple different politicians and just famous people speak on this, and now we have one of the big dogs. Mainstream media is taking jabs at PlayStation now. It says NBC News, 2.7 million views on this tweet. It says movies still come on Blu-rays, music is still pressed on vinyl, and books still fills the shelves. But as Sony moves to phase out physical PlayStation releases, many gamers are asking why video games should be the first media entertainment to go all digital. And they bring up the most craziest point because I didn't even think about that. You could go to a library, you could buy all of these things physical still. But then games have to go full digital? This is greed on another level, and mainstream media is finally locking on. This is the type of pressure that could make Sony actually cave. And this is also the type of pressure that could get politicians' attention. Sony, they are trying to do something that's very, very greedy and only serves to help them. And I'm happy that players are not standing for it. Lastly, I want to highlight the first concept art that was shown for Avengers Doomsday. It showcased big names like Doctor Doom, Captain America, Thor, the X-Men down in the bottom middle, the Fantastic Four on the right, Shang-Chi, Black Panther, Captain Falcon, and then a couple of the new Avengers. A lot of people were laughing at this because it kind of looks very lackluster. Where's Spider-Man? Where's some of the icons? Where's Hulk? This is what's supposed to save Marvel? I mean, a lot of these actors are great, but this is not the MCU that fans recognize. This will probably be one of their final opportunities. They have been squandering their potential for about 5 years in arrogant, poorly written shows. For this to be the penultimate of all of it, it doesn't look good.